We are at the moment in the throes of terrible cuts to the legal aid system, including the criminal legal aid system. But that doesn't detract from the fact that our legal aid system, even with the cuts, certainly before the cuts, is amazing. If you take it internationally, the extraordinary thing about our criminal legal aid system is that it's not just young lawyers cutting their teeth on criminal cases. It's everybody who is involved in criminal defense work does legal aid work, including all the top QCs. They spend most of their time, year in, year out, doing criminal defense work on the legal aid system. That's unique. There isn't a country in the world where that's true. And the budget for criminal legal aid has been something like £1 billion a year. It's a lot of public money. It's being cut, drastically cut. So it'll be less, but it'll still be better than practically any country in the world. So to that extent, we should be grateful that state funds, taxpayers' money, is there in considerable quantities to support the defendant.
Well, England has the best system in the sense that there are committed, publicly funded lawyers. But what he does not appreciate is that those publicly funded lawyers cannot go on in the situation they are. In other words, the service that's being provided may be one of the best in the world, but that's dependent upon the personnel. And the personnel, and he should know this, are dropping off by the minute. Solicitors' firms are closing. Law centres are closing. They just cannot cope. Citizens' advice bureaus are closing. So I'm sorry, he's wrong. And actually, in terms of the money spent, the European Commission did a survey and they discovered that, in fact, per capita, we're not top of the league. We're not the one that's best funded. Austria's better funded than we are. Norway's better funded than we are. We're number 10 in the league table. So it's a myth to suppose that we're amongst the best funded systems in the world. We're not. But it is a very fine system, and I want to defend it. And it's fine because of the people who've, stood up and supported it.
Is it going to lead to decline in the quality and quantity of criminal legal aid? I would guess the answer is yes. Has to be. Massive cuts will have that effect. Bound to. Will it be the end of the world as we know it? No, it won't. Will people still get defended? Of course they will. And sometimes very well defended. Will lawyers doing criminal legal aid work earn quite as much as they did before? Clearly not. Clearly not. Will some of the top people, the QCs who've been making a lot of money on criminal legal aid, I mean really a lot of money, some of them, will they drift off to do other work? Well, there isn't any obvious work that they can do. So I'm gloomy, but not in despair. I'm very critical, and if I was the Secretary of State told by the Treasury, you've got to achieve 20% cut or 25% cut or whatever, would I have done the same? Possibly. Because what can you do? You can't say no to the Treasury if that's what is required of you.
Instead of spending money on foreign wars, illegal wars, and wars that we shouldn't be fighting in the first place. In other words, we've got the money. Believe you me, if we want to spend money, bombing the hell out of somewhere, suddenly we've got the money. So I'm somebody who says, I'm not going to be constantly browbeaten on the basis that we don't have the money. They do have the money if they have the will. The fact is they don't have the will because they don't want this to succeed.